just dry air. Relative humidities are down into the single digits. We do have that wind advisory pretty much everywhere else. We're seeing that will expire Tuesday or later this morning at 11 a.m. Jackson County. We will see that continue on into Wednesday at 2 p.m.
We were given a red flag warning for high winds and high heat. And during the morning, the crew that was on, we had run 5 or 6 different calls for trees into power lines and things blowing down through town. So it was already a pretty hectic morning. We all got back to the station around 10 or so to do our reports and clean up.
Ashland Fire Chief Kelly Burns was already concerned about the windy morning and the long, dry summer. And then
Battalion 1, ODF, Grass Fire, 164 Almeda Drive, Ashland.
So the grass fire tone is a series of high-low beeps, and then we heard where the location was. Everybody got their gear on.
Schedule continuing. We're getting multiple reports of a grass fire. It's going to be behind the area of 164 Alameda Drive. 164 Alameda Drive crosses Aurora and then Michelle Avenue.
Probably crossing Hershey Street, which is maybe about a half a mile to a mile away. And I could see the smoke column already, and because of the high winds, I could see that it was already laying down and heading towards the neighborhoods.
We have a caller advising that the fire is headed to our houses on Glendower. It's behind or close to the water treatment plant as well.
So some of my earliest calls were to ask for law enforcement to go code 3 down into our neighborhoods here to start evacuating personnel. There's one point where I was in the field here still. It was in the first 5 minutes, and one of our local police officers who knows me well came up and said, "Hey Kelly, I heard you want to evacuate, some of the residents. Who do you want us to evacuate?" And I said, "All of them." And there was a moment where his eyes got a little big, and I was like, "Yeah, all of them, get them out."
this decision would ultimately save thousands of lives.
Official be advised, there are spot fires to the west of this location. From the original fire, there is a small moving grass fire pushing towards the residents, fueled by wind. And it looks like there's multiple personnel in the field trying to extinguish it, fast moving towards the structure approximately 100 feet out. We need to consider addresses on the Eagle Mill, the trailer park. I think it's near Navajo Brick.
We heard that it was at the edge of Phoenix, and then when it got on the 2nd Street, which is the street where by the high school, that's when there was a van just came down the street on a loudspeaker telling the people to evacuate, get out and get out now.
Alameda Command ODF advising air support is on scene. They have a Type 1 helo with bucket drops en route, unknown ETA. We're getting a call from 383 Oxford that flames are coming up the hill towards several houses. Break.
With gusts up to 40 miles per hour, the fires quickly moved well ahead of the crews, heading northward towards the neighborhoods of Talent, then Phoenix, annihilating businesses, neighborhoods, a mobile home park, and a winery.
Well, actually that day, Ryan was here working on our Sauvignon Blanc. We had just brought it in, and he was actually across the street at Crown Market getting ice to cool down the fermentations. And when he walked across the street, he could see all the smoke.
And when the fire was finally contained, it had traveled 9 miles, wiping out most of the cities of Talent and Phoenix, coming just short of Medford, Southern Oregon's largest city of over 81,000 people.
About 40 to 45% that have actually lost homes, lost everything. And then as you know, we had upwards of 80% of our families that had no power, no water.
Brian was pretty sure that it was a complete loss because he had been here and really seen the progression of how it was moving. I was still hopeful because we didn't know at that point what it looked like, but it was pretty clear by the next day that it was a complete loss.
It's a traumatic event, so we know there are some things that we need to provide and help and support as far as to process what happened on September 8th, because it was devastating.
Devastation that destroyed businesses, natural greenways, entire neighborhoods. 1 year later, progress is heading toward restoration, but not quite back to normal. Perhaps nothing will be normal again.
What I'm aware of is that everybody was involved in this. I talk about dispatchers, cops, and firefighters, but every citizen in the valley was affected. by this fire. And it's not just the people that lost homes, it's the people who lost businesses. This event impacted everyone. For myself, what I took in personally was the little things that we did that actually saved a house or saved a life. I think of the stories of some of the rescues that guys did against the odds. They saved someone's life that day, and those are the pieces that I take forward.
With tremendous hearts and ironclad resolve, the community began to rebuild, and one homeowner decided not to wait for insurance to rebuild his life.
My house was the first one started here. It looked like an atomic bomb went off and my house was getting built. I had a few of the old neighbors kind of come up asking how come my house was getting built first, and I says, because I paid for it. It's coming out of my coffers.
Ron now lives comfortably in his new dwelling, complete with his family photos and Oregon Duck memorabilia.
The biggest thing to deal with is the loss of the pictures stuff. When my kids were little, all their little photo pictures they had drawn or painted, and your pictures of people. All these pictures up here, that's the family wall that's behind you right there.
Just beyond his house, the devastation is still apparent.
Then you got the crooked ones. If you look over my fence, you see a house down here that's got the studs up. That's been that way for almost 3 months now. They made a mistake. They paid the contractor the full amount. And the contractor, they're looking for him now. I know he's somewhere in Mexico, gotta be. But they just left him, so I don't know what they're gonna do.
For the winery, the first building has been constructed, but completing the project is still a challenge.
Right now, the biggest hang-up is supply chain. That's what everybody's having problems with. So we're having a lot of problems right now getting the parts we need for our electrical panel, and so permanent power is the really big struggle right now and the delay.
Despite the big delays, their dreams are even bigger.
Yeah, so we rebuilt on the lot pretty much in the same spot where the old building was, but we've changed up the design a little bit. So this will be the outdoor seating area where we're standing right now, and then behind you will be a parking lot. Yeah, so this is that fermentation room. This will be into the tasting room there, and then we've got the crush pad out back where all the fruit will be processed.
Meanwhile, Ron reminisces through a photo album given to him by his grown children to remember a year of losing everything and of rebuilding.
That's the remnants of my house right there. That's my daughter-in-law standing there taking the picture. September 9th, 7:30 a.m. You see that acetylene bottle? That's blowed right through the side of the door of the truck there. My oxygen bottle, it split open like a banana, but the acetylene tank, when it blew, it became a rocket and blew right through the side of the door.
In the end, the fire traveled nearly 9 miles, destroying 2,659 structures and killing 3 people. Thousands were homeless for the better part of the year, and it was determined the fire was not the result of natural causes.
I haven't seen the final investigation. I have heard that the final investigation, it was human caused, but they couldn't identify who had done it exactly. Like there was no lightning, it wasn't electrical. Like this was a human caused fire.
Out of these ashes, a community rebuilding, regrowing, and ready to move forward.
Gosh, we are just looking forward to opening the doors and just being a place where our community can gather again. Before the fires, we really loved just the community vibe with people bringing their kids and bringing their own picnics and their dogs, and we just want that to be that again. I think it's just going to be so much that people are moving back to the area and just having a place that they can go and meet up with neighbors and to see each other. That's what we're really looking forward to.
I had central air put in this house, even in my garage. First time in my life I got my garage air conditioned. And little changes here and there. I had them put in a walk-in tub. That's great, man. If you ever get a chance to do it, that's what to do, man.
It really devastated the heart of our towns in Phoenix and Talent. But just really trust the resilience of this community and just encouraged by the outpouring of support from all over the globe. our staff has been stepped up in ways that are unimaginable, just really doing incredible and amazing things for not only their colleagues who lost homes, but students and families that were in their classrooms. So
I'm super proud of just the citizenry, like in Ashland, Talent, and Phoenix, the people that stood up to help. I think after the fire too, some of the grassroots efforts that have occurred locally to try to get people food, get people shelter. Some of them initiated by our local citizens and businesses and stuff too. Like, that is inspiring. That makes me want to stay.